Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a company, City Ventures III, ticker symbol MCVT. And they've had some, interesting news come out lately, but they're also operating in a market that's been, well, pretty hard to predict. So let's see if we can break it down together and see if maybe it's a company that you should be paying attention to.
What's really kind of cool about City Ventures III is just how they seem to be like moving through all this uncertainty in the market.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a bit of a roller coaster out there right now. I mean, just take a look at MCVT's stock price. Closed yesterday at $2.98, up 5.3%. I mean, not bad for a day's work, right?
Yeah.
But then you look and you see their 52-week range has been between $1.75 and $3.88. That kind of volatility, I think, can make the most experienced investor just a little bit nervous, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the overall market really hasn't been a whole lot better either. I mean, the Federal Reserve interest rate decisions are having just kind of a ripple effect across the board. It's impacting large cap stocks, growth stocks. I mean, basically everything. It's like for investors right now, it's almost like, you're just trying to guess what's going to happen.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It is really hard to get a clear sense of where things are going. But, in the middle of all this uncertainty, City Ventures III did something that really caught my attention. They just announced a $3 million loan commitment to Coventry Holdings of Minnesota, which is a company that operates senior care facilities. I'm curious what you make of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, on the surface, it seems like a pretty bold move, especially with interest rates the way they are these days. But here's where it gets kind of interesting. City Ventures III is actually going to get an interest rate of over 24% on this loan. And they consider it low risk because they've had a relationship with Coventry before.
Wow, over 24%. That's a pretty significant return.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think it suggests that City Ventures III sees some opportunity in this sector, maybe one that other lenders aren't really seeing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like you're taking like a calculated risk, but with some potentially big rewards. And all this news combined with their, strong Q3 results seems to be getting people excited.
Yeah, their Q3 earnings report was definitely a good thing. Pre-tax earnings from their lending operations went up 93% to $589,283. It's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, that's not just a jump. It's a full-on leap.
Right.
And it's not even the only positive thing in their financials, right?
Right. Their cash position is way better. They finished Q3 with $3.1 million in cash. That's compared to just $376,024 at the end of 2023.
Wow. That's a huge difference. It seems like they're really shoring up their finances.
Yeah, and their overall performance for the first 9 months is pretty good, too. They reported pre-tax earnings of $1.26 million, which means earnings per share of 20 cents. And this time last year, they were actually reporting a loss of 4 cents per share.
So they went from a loss to a solid profit in just a year.
That's impressive. It makes you wonder if they've found some kind of secret formula or something.
It really does seem like they're making some smart decisions that are really working. But there is one move in particular that's gotten some attention. Their recently announced $2 million stock buyback program.
Well, yeah. So they're saying they want to increase shareholder value, especially because the shares have been trading below their net asset value. And I know net asset value might sound a little technical, but think of it this way. If City Ventures III decided to sell all its assets and pay off all its debts, whatever money was left over, would be its net asset value. It's basically a way to see what the company's actually worth.
Right. And when a company's stock is trading below that, it usually means the market thinks it's worth less than it really is. So it's like with this buyback program, City Ventures III is saying, hey, we think our stock is worth more than what the market's giving us credit for.
Exactly. It shows they're confident about their future.
I like that. It's like they're putting their money where their mouth is.
And that's a good thing for investors, especially those looking for companies that have good fundamentals, but their stock price hasn't caught up yet.
So what are your first thoughts on this buyback program? Do you see it as a good sign, or could it be a warning sign?
Well, it's definitely something to look at closer. There are definite good and bad things about stock buybacks, so you got to be careful and weigh everything out.
Absolutely. We don't want to make any decisions before we really understand what's going on.
Exactly. We need to look at everything, the market trends, the risks.
Which is exactly what we'll do next. Stay tuned, everybody. We're just getting started.
One thing that kind of jumps out at me is even though Mill City Ventures III is making all these moves, they're doing it at a time when the economy as a whole is pretty uncertain. You can't just ignore the Federal Reserve's interest rate policies and what they might do to the market.
Right. Those interest rate hikes have been a big topic lately. I mean, some people think they could push us into a recession, while others think the economy is strong enough to handle it. It's a lot to take in for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes things tricky for companies like Mill City Ventures III. I mean, they're trying to grow their business and make good investments, but they also have to think about how the economy might affect them.
It's like walking a tightrope, right? But what's interesting is when you look at their performance lately, it seems like they might actually be doing it. Their lending business is doing well. They're making some smart acquisitions. And that stock buyback program suggests they're pretty confident about their future.
Yeah, I agree. They're not just sitting around waiting to see what happens. They're going after it. And that's something investors like to see, especially when things are a little shaky.
It's like they're saying, we're not going to let the market control us. We're going to make our own luck.
Exactly. And another thing to remember is that they're focusing on some niche markets, like senior care facilities. And that could give them an edge. These are areas that a lot of the bigger lenders don't really pay attention to, which means less competition and maybe bigger returns for Mill City Ventures III.
That's a great point. So by going after these less popular markets, they're finding their own space. It's like they found a hidden gem.
Yeah. And because they know these areas so well, they can assess the risks better and maybe get better loan terms, like that 24% interest rate on the loan to Coventry Holdings.
So to recap, we've got a company that's working in a market that's up and down, but they're showing they can handle it. They're making smart moves, focusing on those specialized markets, and their financials are looking good. It sounds like Mill City Ventures III might be a company to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think so. They've got a lot of what investors are looking for: good performance, a clear plan, and that entrepreneurial spirit. That can sometimes lead to big wins.
But of course, no investment is ever risk-free. There's always the chance that the market could take a downturn, or that Mill City Ventures III could hit a bump in the road.
Right. That's why it's so important for investors to do their homework and really think about everything before they make any decisions.
We don't want anyone jumping in without understanding what could happen.
Exactly. Investing is about being informed. It's about looking at the risk and the potential rewards, understanding how the company works, and making sure it fits with your goals and how much risk you're comfortable with.
And so that brings us to the question for you, the listener. Would you consider adding Mill City Ventures III to your watch list? I mean, it's a company that's definitely doing things. But the question is it right for you? And that's something only you can decide.
But at least we've given you some info to think about. We talked about how well they're doing financially, their plans for the future, and how they're focusing on those kind of unique markets.
And we talked about the risks, too, like what's going on with the market right now and how important it is to really do your research. Investing is never a guarantee.
Yeah.
But if you stay informed and understand what's happening, you can make better decisions.
Yeah. And it's not just about chasing the latest hot stock or trying to guess when the market's going to go up or down. It's about finding those companies with a solid track record, a clear plan, and a management team you believe in.
And hey, if after hearing all this, you think Mill City Ventures III, ticker symbol MCVT, is a good fit for you, then great. But if not, that's totally fine too. There are plenty of other options out there.
The important thing is to keep learning and exploring. The more you know, the better you'll be at navigating the market and making decisions that work for you.
So keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep looking for those opportunities because there are a lot of them out there. And with the right knowledge and approach, you can find the ones that are perfect for you. And that's it for today's Investing Talk podcast.
Thanks for joining us on this look at Mill City Ventures III.
We hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future episodes. We cover all sorts of companies and investment strategies, and we're always trying to help you become a smarter investor.
And if you know anyone else who might be interested in this episode, feel free to share it with them.
We also love hearing from you, so leave us a comment and tell us what you think. Are you feeling good about Mill City Ventures III? Not so much. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, happy investing, everybody.